Welcome to Mission Possible, delivering cleaner fuel today, brought to you by CEMA, Connecticut Energy Marketers Association, representing 600 family-run home heating fuel companies in Connecticut and the greater New England region. Today's episode was recorded live from the Southern New England Energy Conference in Newport, Rhode Island, and highlights how our members are delivering a cleaner, greener fuel today. And wow, I mean, the energy, I know I said this last time, no pun intended, really you can feel it here. You can feel the excitement of our industry, the present day, the future, the direction we're heading in. So our guest today is Mr. Stephen Rosentel with Leahy's Fuel from Danbury, Connecticut. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Very happy to be here.
Right, so let's start off with the basic questions. Tell us a little bit about your company, its history. I find the history of everyone so fascinating. So tell me a little bit about yours.
Well, Leahy Fuels is a company that started back in 1917. And we've been in the business for a very, very long time. And we were evolving from selling heating oil, selling propane gas, and also used to operate a marine terminal in Norwalk, Connecticut, under the Norwalk Oil Company operation. So we are servicing an area of about 40-mile radius outside of Danbury, Connecticut. We also cover portions of New York State, Westchester, Putnam, and Dutchess County.
Wow, so how many customers do you have, would you say?
No, 13,000.
Oh, that's a lot of homes that you're responsible for.
And a lot of people to keep warm.
Right, which is, of course, our main goal in the winter is keep people safe and warm. So tell me a little bit how your business has changed over the years.
Well, if you take, for example, just the nature of the heating oil, when I came into the business 40 years ago, we were selling 3,000 parts per million sulfur content heating oils. That was gradually brought down to the point where now regular heating oil is down to 15 parts per million sulfur. That's a huge reduction in sulfur content. In addition to that, now we only sell B20, which is a bio blend, 20% biofuel and 80% conventional heating oil. Propane business in the 40 years ago was primarily used for hot water and for cooking. It has evolved to be a very viable fuel for whole house heating as well, in addition to generators and outdoor backyard activities like the grilling, in addition to fire pits, swimming pool heaters. So there's a great variety of options you can use propane.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because you and our other members on this podcast, that have talked about how we are changing the fuel that you use to heat your home with, and more than 50% of the people in Connecticut use home heating fuel. So if you are one of those people, you have this cleaner, greener fuel already in the tank. Maybe a lot of people don't realize it because they didn't have to cut a separate check, right? Like you can do this without any expensive upgrades. You can make a difference in a greener, greener liquid fuel, and it's not the same fuel that your grandparents or parents used, perhaps. And
there's the equipment. The equipment efficiency numbers have gone into the 90s. So back in 40 years ago, it was not uncommon to be running furnaces at efficiencies of 76%. So you're also generating more heat in the home as opposed to the heat going up the flue.
And why is that?
Because the equipment is more electronically driven with sensors. In the old days, even the propane burners would be run just completely on atmospheric burn. So now you have the ability to have sensors, and you have greater efficiencies, less emissions, as well as less heat going up the flue, or a lot of the units are direct vent. Instead of going off a wide chimney, which was oftentimes stone, you needed a lot of heat going into that flue in order to get the warmth that flue gases travel up to the top of the chimney tube, right, of the house. Now, most of the units that are going in are either in line chimneys, so that the amount of air that has to be warmed in order to get a draft is greatly reduced, or it's a direct vent or a wall, so it's a much shorter run. You don't have that typically masonry flue that needs to be warmed up. So it's been a combination of things.
And again, that's a very technical aspect to it. But yeah, there's many things that impact the overall efficiency of your home and, the impact on the environment. But specifically, when you talk about the fuel, you gave some pretty hard numbers there as far as how the fuel is different. How would you explain that in layman's term?
Sulfur was basically a very heavy, basically a dirty fuel or component of the fuel. So the burrs would get dirtier and need more maintenance. The efficiency would go down during the course of the heating season. So when you take the sulfur out, you're improving the emissions, you're improving combustion, so you get a more efficient operation. And then I'll give you another example of efficiency changes in water heaters. We now have on-demand water heaters where there is no fuel being consumed until the person opens the hot water spigot. So if you go away for a week, you're burning no gas until you come home and turn that hot water faucet on.
Wow.
So in the conventional sense, people typically had 40 or 50 gallon hot water reserves that were actually kept warm and hot, but waiting for somebody to turn the faucet off. So because of the technology and the electronic component of the sensors that are now built into the unit, the burner will stage up and meet the demand. So you can have multiple drawers. You can be doing a dishwasher load, a washing machine load, take a shower all at the same time, even though you're not wasting any energy because you're not keeping 40 or 50 gallons of water hot in anticipation of somebody needing hot water.
Wow. So those are two real examples, from your hot water tank to the sulfur and the home heating fuel, which in our fuel, again, it's made up of biodiesel. It's a mix. Biodiesel is a renewable liquid fuel made from discarded cooking oil, soybean byproduct, stuff that would have ended up in the landfill, right? It's turned into, through a scientific process, this renewable fuel. We need to say that because we don't want people trying to do this at home. And it's mixed with our home heating fuel, which, as you said, we've pretty much removed most of the sulfur, would you say?
Yeah, when you think about 3,000 down to 15, that's a huge reduction.
3,000 down to 15. Wow, that is a huge. I didn't quite say huge like you did, Steve, with that New York accent. But I like how you said it better. So that is really fascinating. So I think when people understand, like, it's not the same heating fuel that was used in the 80s or 70s or 60s, that there is change. And from what I understand, it's better for the environment than, natural gas, which was touted as the end-all be-all savior of the energy world by the state of Connecticut for 10 years. We all know that was a big flop. But is that true?
Yeah, the 2013 Comprehensive Energy Strategy thought natural gas was the solution. And the Department of Environmental Protection and deep Department of Energy and Environmental Protection totally did a 180 in terms of what their recommendation was when they came out with the second version. And the reality is deliverable fuels are going to be around for a long time because we've reduced the amount of consumption per household because of efficiencies, because of cleaner burning, because of 20% of the fuel as we sell now is coming from renewable products. So it's only 80% of fossil fuel. We have increasing technologies continuing to be developed, and I think the trend is going to continue. At the same time, the electric grid can't possibly offset the amount of BTUs of energy that we're currently, as an industry, providing to the state of Connecticut.
Right, and that's some of the concerns that other guests have talked about too, how, the state of Connecticut has been known to put its thumb on the scale and pick an energy source, that seems to be popular at the time. We saw this with natural gas. Now it seems to be electricity. However, I do feel as if there has been somewhat of a pause after people opened up their electric bills this summer and they started to see how much the green energy policies are costing them without much fanfare. People being locked into prices without any negotiation. I mean, that's something in the heating on our side that is not the case. So my point is, green energy does come at a price, but our customers are doing this without an increased cost of price. There's no expensive upgrade. I believe if you wanted to install heat pumps in your house or maybe an EV charger, there has to be certain upgrades done, correct? Which are expensive. That's not the case with our product.
That's right. The burner is the same burner that runs conventional heating oil that's running the B clay. The two big burner manufacturers now only making burners that are capable of running B100, which would be 100% renewable fuel. So there is progress being made in terms of increase the volume of that, but in terms of availability. The state of Connecticut is also in a situation where the electric costs have gone up for a lot of different reasons. But one of the strange things about our structure is that unlike most other states, I think there's only 48 states that do it differently than us. We have the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection incorporates the people that have the authority to approve the electric rate and what goes into that rate facing. So that particular group of people typically is independent in virtually every other state. In Connecticut, they're part of D. We've been trying to get that change back to what it used to be. I think that is another factor as to why Connecticut residents are paying so much money for electricity. Connecticut leads the nation in high electric costs. And I think this is just the beginning of the trend that we're going down. If we continue to shift heat-to-U load off of deliverable fuels onto the electric rate base.
So is this one of your biggest concerns, would you say?
I think it's a concern, but, I have a lot of faith in people reassessing. I think we're going to see a situation where the reality of trying to electrify everything just doesn't make any sense in short window of time. I think we're going to see continued developments of renewable fuels, renewable propanes coming on the market. And I think we're going to have the recognition that it's got to be an all of the above solution.
And Steve, thank you so much for all of your insight on that. Real quickly, I'd like to cover a few more topics that we've heard from other guests on various episodes of our podcast, Mission Possible. It's the personal connection that our members, and when I say our members, Connecticut Energy Marketers Association, also known as CEMA, we have under our umbrella about 600 home heating fuel companies in the state, one of which you are a member. Thank you for that. But what we always say when we're out advocating at the Capitol or to the press or whomever, the connection that our guys have with their customers, I guess what I'm trying to say is you're a part of the community. You care about the community that you serve. And this is an over, topic that we've heard over and over from other guests. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about your customers? Any that you have helped, any stories that you can think of, personal stories that you could come up with to tell us about how you have helped a customer in need or somebody in need?
Well, we do this on a daily basis. I had a service tech who we sent to school, trained him, got him licensed. That's in the NTEC program through CEMA. And the first night that with his B license, he was very excited about being on call. And he gets a call on a Sunday night about 5:30 at night from a woman who was a single mother, has a baby, and a 4 or 6-year-old. And she came home after being out for a week, and it was 54 degrees in her house. When I saw him on Monday morning, and he said, I said, how'd it go at him? And he said, it was great. He says, I felt like Superman. Mm-hmm. He says, those kids were high-fiving me when I was leaving the house because the heat was right. And this is a guy that did 2 tours in Afghanistan. So the fact that we can, help people in situations like that. At the same time, we had a couple of weeks ago, I had a customer come in who wanted to say hello. It's 56 years he's been a customer of Leahy's. And he would never think about doing business with anybody else. So we've had second, third generations of families, in addition to the fact that people come in and say, thank you for supporting the, 48, I think was the number last year, of different fundraisers and charitable activities that are going on in the community. So we not only do it in Danbury, but we support all kinds of things in Newtown and surrounding towns.
48 charities.
You've done this for many, many years. In addition to that, the Leahy organization has a John W. Leahy Foundation, who is the foundation was also a very significant contributor to Danbury Hospital and several other charities in the community.
Wow. Anything else you'd like your customers to know about you and your business?
just that we're your neighbors, where the people live down the street or on the other side of town. And that if there's decisions are made locally. So if there's any kind of an issue or a problem, the buck stops with me. I make the decision to make it right. And been around for a long time.
Isn't that refreshing to hear, because it's not always that way when you're dealing with customer service elsewhere. But that's nice. The buck stops with you, and you're going to get things done, and you're there to help. Let's end on this note. Do you have a few words that you can use to describe the future of your industry?
Well, I think, we're in the business of getting up every morning, going to work, keep people warm and safe. You think about it, our folks are going out there delivering fuel that creates a flame. So we create, working on equipment that creates fire in your home. We've been doing this for a very, very long time with a very impressive track record for safety. I think, that's something for all of us in this industry to be proud. We keep people warm and safe, and we've been doing it in our company for 107 years. And I think, we look forward to the next 100 years.
Tremendous. Thank you so much. It was really great spending time with you, and I appreciate just the really thoughtful and conversation and, just the personal stories, the way that your business has changed. And to me, the future does seem exciting, doesn't it?
Yes, my pleasure to be with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen. And thank you for listening to Mission Possible. Be sure to tune in next time to hear more stories on how our members are making a difference. We'll see you then.